If you're moving to Knoxville and you want one of those cute fixer-uppers, well, let us save you thousands of dollars.
Because a fixer-upper is fine, a money pit is not.
And the absolute horrifying part is that both of them can look identical in a 10-minute showing.
Today we're giving you the exact checklist so you can pinpoint and know exactly in a 10-minute showing.
And make sure to stay to the end because we're gonna give you 3 green lights that say, yep, this is absolutely one to buy, and 3 red lights that mean, no thanks, move on, let's go.
I'm Gilmore.
And I'm Christian, and we help people just like you move in here to Knoxville or sell your Knoxville home literally all the time. And if you're buying or selling here in Knoxville in 2026, our information is in the description box below. Make sure to like, subscribe, and tap that bell so you never miss a beat.
And today's video is inspired by fixer-upper versus money pit idea. DIY is great as long as you're not accidentally buying the structural issues.
And coming from somebody who has done, how many flips have we done now? 5, 6, maybe 7? 6.
6 working on one.
Rest assured that we know what a money pit is and what a money pit isn't. Here's the definition that we use.
A fixer-upper is just something cosmetic, planned upgrades. A money pit is hidden systems, water damage, structural surprises overall.
You gotta think floors, paint, fixtures, little things like that. That is a fixer-upper.
Now think foundational issues, chronic water intrusion, bad drainage, sketchy electrical. And when I say sketchy electrical, houses in the 60s, 70s were built with fuse boxes. And if you are in 2026 seeing something like that, you may have to run. The best thing you can do, open up your walls, just straight bolt the electrical and do it new. But if you can't, at least upgrade to a 200 amp and deal with the problems that you're gonna find inside. Money pit, run.
And speaking of money pit with things like that, so I'm very ambitious and I wanted to get my own flip started. And so I did. And that turned into a disaster of we had to fix foundation, we had to replace AC unit, we had to replace electrical. This video is so you guys don't make the exact same mistake that I did. Because if you have the ability and the money and the contractors and all that good stuff, you don't really need to be watching this video anyways. But if you're looking to buy a house or you're looking to start your first flip or something like that, just learn from what we're about to tell you because everything that I'm talking about in this video right now is from experience. So stay tuned, keep watching, and hopefully you don't make the same mistakes that I did. This is rule number 1 if you're wanting to know exactly what to look for. And you gotta start with the outside. If the outside is wanting to kill the inside, then that's just a money pit and it's not even worth going inside the house. And we're talking about foundational cracks, AC units being like 30 years old, 50 years old, rusted, and very much the electrical box too. Take a look inside of that electrical box because it could have, like we talked about earlier, fuses, and those fuses are no good.
And when we talk about foundation cracks, there are cracks, especially here in East Tennessee where the geography is just hilly. You are going to find cracks in any foundations. No matter if it's an older home, a newer home, you're going to find cracks. But there is a difference between a movement crack and a issue crack. So it could be a fixer-upper crack or a money pit crack. So those are 2 things that you need to be looking at just to make sure that if you're getting it with a crack, it's not a big problem that it's going to cost you $30,000 like somebody I know. Now talking about foundations, I want to show you these 2 pictures, right? The first one, stair step, very common here in East Tennessee. totally fine, unless it's very, very separated. And that is, according to the code here in Knoxville, it's about 1/8 of an inch or something like that. But if it's more than that, then you have a problem. Now, this other picture, money pit, money pit, money pit, run. This is just not good. It doesn't look good, and it's gonna cost you a lot of money. Then within that step one, we have A and B. A, please look at the water, how it sits in the lot. Usually here, you're gonna have a slope. If that water is still pooling, you have a problem. Go further, because it could be something simple. It could be just grading, you're good. $1,000 grading, you're good. But it could be something major, especially if it is a septic and it has water pooling on top, might be a big issue.
Huge.
So
Huge
you might want to run, but still, I'll be up for a deeper inspection if it's something that we can fix really quick. When you're still looking at a fixer-upper water-wise, look at your downspouts, where that water goes. It needs to go away from the foundation. And again, code here in Knoxville says 6 feet away from the home. I don't know what other codes in other cities will be, but here is 6 feet. And of course, the grading of the home cannot be onward. It has to be outward. And that is an easy fix. That is a fixer-upper. If you see your gutter going straight to the foundation and there is a hole already there, you might have a foundation issue, you might have a water issue, you might have something bigger that is going to cost you a lot more money.
Now, poor drainage is one of those slow burn issues, right? Because it's not something that's going to be noticeable immediately right away, and it's also not anything that's going to be immediately impactful on the home either. But give it a few years and it's absolutely going to destroy your bones, your foundation, and everything else in between.
Step B, look up and look down. Look up to your roof. If your roof looks tired, there are missing shingles, there's stains under the eaves. If that looks wet with the stains of water, you might have a problem bigger again than just replacing the roof. And right now with prices, it really depends on how big is the home, but a 1,500 square feet home, your roof can be $10,000 to $15,000. So if you do have a bigger issue, then you have to replace boards. You'll have to do much more than just replacing the roof. And you can be looking at, then you plan for $10,000 and now you're at $20,000.
Now, something that inspectors and specifically real estate agents, I know I do this with every single client that I have, no matter if it's their first time buying a home or their 5th or 6th time buying a home, it's taking a look at the 4 major systems. We're talking roofing, like we talked about before. Take a look at those shingles. Check and see if it looks just tired, if there are dips in the roof, if you can see the stud lines, if you can see where water might be pooling up within that roof. Those are all things that you really need to take a look at when buying, honestly, any home. But if you're going to do a fixer-upper, that's really important because roofs are some of the most expensive parts other than foundation. Now, number 2 is the electrical. We touched a little bit on this, but once again, if you're looking at your electrical box, if you're going to a home and you're showing, and when I'm showing a home and you're looking at the electrical box, there are these fuses, and it's like these little like cylinder style fuses that straight up, like your car fuse or whatever, that go into that electrical box. Those are a huge no-go. If you see that, steer very clear of it when you're buying a home just for your first time, and especially if you're wanting to do a fixer-upper, unless you have that kind of budget, keep in mind that that's going to be very close to around $30,000 because you're more than likely also going to have to replace the wiring. Number 3 is plumbing. This is a pretty big one because a lot of people forget about plumbing in their household. And if you're looking at a home that's in the 80s and the 70s, 60s, and then lower into the 30s or 20s, we're doing a house right now from 1899, and this thing still had that cast iron plumbing. Now, the fact that it lasted that long, absolutely incredible, diabolical, if you will. But not all houses last that long because most of that cast iron plumbing can break very easily. Replacing plumbing can be incredibly expensive. Also looking at another $20,000 to $40,000 depending on what you need to do, what needs to be replaced, and maybe even needs to be shifted because if you're fixing up a house or you're flipping a house, you're generally swapping around some of the inside parts as well. So keep that in mind. And the very last, and something that not a lot of people look at, is the HVAC. HVACs can be also another $10,000 to $20,000, right? So that's huge for a budget. A couple of the things to look at is the rusting on the top. Is there rusting on the top? Are the bolts rusted? Because generally the outer shell itself isn't gonna be rusted and you're gonna be like, oh, that looks pretty good. But if you look at that grate right on top, that's generally gonna be super rusty. The bolts are gonna be falling off. So just keep that in mind. Listen as well. Listen to how an HVAC sounds. If the thing it turns on and you hear, move immediately. Move on to the next one because that's immediately gonna be $10,000 to $30,000.
And we say move from it. It all depends on your budget. If you do have the budget to do things and the budget supports the comps to make money on the sale, and then all of those things can be overlooked and you can just replace all of that. But if you are in a tight budget, I will say just not do it. I see some clients and I take them to see these houses and they're like, oh no, $20,000, $30,000. And then you see them upside down, $80,000, $90,000, $100,000 in, and they didn't expect it. So make sure that you plan budget-wise exactly how much each of those could cost you if that needs to be replaced, repaired, anything that needs to be done to it.
All right, let's talk money, right? Because this is probably the most important part of the whole thing because people always budget for the fun stuff. I know me specifically, talking about this current flip that I have right now, I was like, oh my God, I can't wait to do this and do that and do this. Always budget for the boring and the fun stuff. All I'm gonna say about that.
So if you're doing a fixer-upper, just have a budget contingency, right? A lot of renovating budgeting recommends about 10 to 20% for surprises. And believe me, surprises happen. And in any flip, I think out of the ones that we have done, only one, we didn't run into any major issues or surprises. But you will run into it, so plan for it.
And if you want, we're gonna have a fixer-upper search in the description box below. This is so you can take a look at all of the houses around the area that are what we consider fixer-uppers. We don't know if they're money pits yet, but that's the whole reason we're here, is so you can contact us and we can take you there and take a look, and we'll let you know immediately if it's a money pit or if it's a fixer-upper.
And it doesn't matter when you're watching this video. We're in February 2026, but you could be seeing it in February 2028. That link will still be valid because we will have it forever and ever, updating all of the fixer-uppers that will come on market, and even if the ones that don't. Another big one, financing. I also get many people calling, wanting to get a fixer-upper or even a flip and finance it. Well, those homes usually don't finance with a regular FHA loan. It has to be either private lender or a conventional if the home is functional. Functional.
Now, sorry to pause you there, but I will say there are FHA loans. There's a 203B loan, and that does help you get financing for a flip house, for a fixer-upper house. And the way to qualify for that, I can't really talk too much about that because I don't necessarily have my license anymore. But what I can say is that it's pretty stringent and there's a lot of boxes that need to be checked. But if you want to get in contact with a loan officer that can do that, we also have that in the description box below. We'll get you in touch and we'll get a look at that. But Hilmar's correct. Most regular financing, regular FHA, and most of the things won't help you on fixer-uppers. There's always a way around it.
But again, with FHA and the fixer loans are only for owner occupied. This is not for business.
Huge.
Most of the time, I get these clients and they want to do it for business. Probably
Right.
You want to do it for business, and you're not going to qualify for an FHA loan because you probably have some other properties that you already worked on, and that's not going to be something that you will get approved for. But there is conventional loans that can do, private lending that can do,
Hard
and we
money.
can help. Yes, private lending.
Yeah.
And we can help you with that. We have the best in class lender, so she will be able to help you with all of that. And again, down in the description box below, You'll have a link to look for those homes, and you'll have lender information so you can contact her directly. Of course, you gotta tell her that you watched it in Living Life in Knoxville.
Now, we told you we would give you a real quick 3 green light and 3 red light of yes, buy this house, or no, do not. And the 3 green lights are a dry house, good bones, we're talking about foundation, crawl space, things like that. And that the big systems are okay-ish. They don't have to be perfect, but certainly look out for some of the warning signs when those things are starting to fail.
Chronic water issues, bad drainage, structural uncertainty. Because we are real estate agents, you are a regular buyer, we don't have the eyes that a structural engineer does. So if in doubt, call a structural engineer, but if you can run, that will be much better. And the last one is multiple systems falling at once, a no buffer budget.
So, fixer-uppers can be an absolutely fantastic way to get into Knoxville, if you pick the right one.
If you're moving in the next 90 days and want a sanity check by us,
text, call, or email us. We'll help you spot money pits versus fixer-uppers.
Text us Fixer if you want to receive more in-depth details of the fixer-uppers here in Knoxville.
And we do answer every single text by ourselves. We don't have anybody doing that. We don't have an automated service, and I don't really know if we ever will, because we like to be one-on-one with our clients. So make sure to shoot us a text. We will absolutely answer. It'll be either Hilmar or myself answering that text.
See you next time.